Good afternoon. I'm Angela Musalam, Public Information Officer with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. I'm joined by our local, state, and federal agencies today as we continue Search Day 7 for Kiely Rodni. To date, we've dedicated over 9,000 man-hours for the search for Kiely. We've ramped up our search for the weekend. Today we have over 200 search and rescuers, including searchers by air and searchers in the water. Our detectives and FBI agents continue to sort through and comb through over 1,000 leads that we've received up until today from the beginning of this search. Yesterday, there was a potential burial site that was located near the campground. It was located by a search and rescue ground team. Kiely's family was notified of the potential development. The FBI responded to secure the scene yesterday and was accompanied by the Placer and Nevada County Sheriff's Offices. FBI agents investigated the site through early this morning and recovered the remains of a dog. Let me be clear. We have one team, one mission, and one goal, and that is to find 16-year-old Kiely Rodni. We will not be holding a community meeting tonight. There's a concert, we understand, to support Kiely's family happening at the Truckee Regional Park from 1 to 4 p.m. We'd like to remind everybody we have set up multiple ways for people to anonymously contact the Sheriff's Office regarding tips. Some of those options are available here to my left. We have an online portal. We also have a tip line that you can call by phone. We also have a link tree that we set up for people who would like to submit any photos and any videos from that evening of the party. You will be able to submit them anonymously without using your name, number, or email address. So again, we still are urging people in the community who may still be hesitant. You know, you're not gonna get in trouble. All we wanna know is, where is Kiely? Where is her vehicle? We just wanna find Kiely. Thank you.
Angela, can you or the officers behind you confirm that her phone, Kiely's phone, the last ping was near the water?
Yeah, the ping for the data points and everything were near the water. It's hard to tell an exact pinpoint or anything like that, but just as much on land as it was on water.
That's what I was told, is that it was near the water and searches took place near that vicinity. Are those going to continue?
Yeah, today we have 226 searchers, a pretty astronomical number. I think the overhead team at the search and rescue, they deployed out all 226 members within about an hour, and so that's a pretty big feat on its own. They've extensively been planning and prepping overnight so that when people get here, we're ready to roll. The area has been walked, driven, flown, grid searched. They're getting into tighter grid searching to, you know, at this point we're looking for small and anything evidence-wise, as opposed to cars, people, things of that nature, even phones. We're trying to make it even tighter. We had swimmers we announced the other day that actually did surface swimming, so we don't want to disturb the water even underneath, because that can cause its own problems. And divers have been deployed at this point as well to assist in the search, and it's been pretty thorough overall. But yeah, we continue to look for that item as well. Just because it was last pinged there, that doesn't mean that that's where the phone stopped being. There's lots of reasons of why those notifications or data points could be lost.
Could you tell us what body of water and what time that last ping was?
The Prosser Lake is where we're focused on right now. But again, that doesn't mean that that's the last location. So,
when was the ping that you had?
I think the last location known that we've put out, you know, from I think day one is around 12:30 in the morning.
There was, this morning I was out by Prosser and there was a dive team from Alameda, but just a few feet to the side, there were people recreating and people going by in a canoe. Are you not afraid about them disturbing any possible evidence that could be there?
Yeah, you balance this, shut everybody out, and we don't have evidence to say that there's something that we're going to locate. Are you better off having more eyes in the area or not? There's times where we have shut down areas. We closed off the boat ramp at one point in time to cover like certain area and ground and things like that. So there's always a concern, but we also don't have like a, hey, this is the area. And so at what point do you cut off the entire Forest Service and things of that nature? So I think we've been reasonable with the areas, and times we've had to put in stop gaps to prevent people from moving around, but we do that based off of information. More people around gives us information, but they've been recreating throughout that lake since long before, and so it is tough. A diving operation like that is really almost like you're going into the water blind, and they're basically searching with hands, because once you start maneuvering the ground, it's like going through mud. So these are tough operations, and there is no right answer for everything, but that's always a concern. Everything is.
Do you know about how deep it is right now? Because the water level is so low, below the natural level.
The deepest point for Prosser that I was told was 57 feet.
Thank you.
Did you have divers out there today and swimmers today?
Divers, yes, today. I don't know if they have swimmers out today. Swimmers was a precaution so that we could ensure, to clarify, because there's so many levels to this. We had boats, we had side sonars, which allow you to see things, certain types of fish finders, which can go lower down into the water. But at that point, we still hadn't touched the ground or anything like that. So swimmers on the surface allowed to use masks and see things without murking up the water, just to cover if there's something you could see. Because once you touch the ground, you could potentially have all that earth come back up over any kind of evidentiary item. So divers were the last case scenario in the attempt, because for the most part, you could go in over and over and over again, but potentially you get one shot at it. And so trying to use a phased approach that makes the most sense and gets us to where we want to be.
And my apologies, I'm new to the area. How large is that lake?
I don't know. It's not a very big lake overall. It's a man-made reservoir, and I believe as large as it is, I believe we have extremely good coverage on that lake as well.
Okay. And what's the name of the dive team?
There's a lot of teams out there, so I don't know specifically. I know Alameda was mentioned. I don't know which all teams were brought in, simply because they all showing up today, and then some have been added. But I can tell you that numerous agencies from all over California are coming up to assist. 226 searchers is a pretty large number. We're expecting the same tomorrow.
Do you expect to go back in the water tomorrow?
Depending. It all depends on coverage, right? We want to use our resources for the best purposes. There's bodies of water that we're also interested in. We've been checking, but we have to have purpose and reason for what we're using our searchers for.
Are you also calling on the public to help in these land searches, maybe terrain searches, or is it just law enforcement right now?
Our searchers are volunteers, the majority of them, but they also go through a training. So Cal OES has a typing system, so when the sheriff's office is going to utilize searchers for a specific purpose, they have to be trained up, they have to have all these things, and they're covered under what's called a disaster service worker. So workers' comp is picked up by the state in case of things that could go wrong, or injuries and whatnot, where we wouldn't be able to supply that for people in the public. And so we don't give direction, but we also provided a mapping system, CalTopo, which is a free app that anybody can download, but we've also included a map that is here locally at the family's trailer here in the rec yard, or the rec center parking lot. It has a map, QR code, and then people can see where other people have searched and also contribute to the tracks.
We're going to take 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap up the press conference.
How long do you guys see yourselves, the level of hours that are being put into this and the amount of people that are searching? It's a 1 week now today, so how much longer can we expect this? And it's been very encouraging, but at some point, is there going to be a drop?
Yeah, I'll speak to the investigation side, and that is that as long as tips are coming in, we're going to continue that effort, and we'll continue that effort as long as we can. And obviously, if a tip pans out and leads us in a direction, we're going to devote resources to that. So, I'm just speaking to the investigation side of the house. This will continue if it's unsolved as long as it goes, and we'll continue to dedicate resources to it.
Look, it's been a week. And we know there's a lot of people out there, and you're saying you won't get in trouble if you come forward. But what can you say to somebody who might know something or has seen something after a week and they haven't come forward yet? There's a huge reward. So what is it that we can say to get someone to come forward who might have that important information?
I would just encourage them to do so and do the right thing. We've received over 700 tips that
Over
we have.
1,000.
Well, over 1,000 tips, but 700 and I believe 20 that have been entered and received, and we are following up on leads. And so that obviously takes resources to do. But if we have that one tip that leads us in the right direction, that could change everything, yes.
Thank you. This wraps up the press conference. Oh, we'll take one more question.
Oh, I just have one question regarding the CalTOPO. Captain Brown, the other day you had mentioned that you were trying to also put into place a way for people to upload like GPS coordinates of where they've been and that kind of thing. Is that in place yet?
I believe that is in place, and I want to say that there was a mechanism designed and should be, I can follow up with it too and get back with you, but at the trailer I believe we had members out there to give people some instruction. There was also a system set up so that we could take the tracks, download them. Marin County was helping us to process those and get them entered. So I believe that's it's through the same app. Yeah.
Great.
So ultimately somebody who used a GPS unit can save those tracks, and then those can be uploaded at a later time. It doesn't have to be done through like the live tracking that's being utilized. But I've looked at the map. There are people going out. They are using it. And I think that it's helpful in a big way, but people keep asking, should I go where those tracks are? Should I not? I don't know, because somebody could walk right by a car or a person and not even know it, and that happens lots of searches and lots of times. And so there is no direction, because if I had somewhere I would send teams. We have 226 people I would send to that location, but we don't. So we just encourage people that if they see something, let us know, and then we can help follow up and look at it. Don't touch things if you see something and you're concerned about it, but let us know. And to follow on what Lieutenant Barnhart said, the search and rescue, of course, is going to have to tailor back at some point in time. But our teams, even today, this morning, are building out plans that go well beyond any point of time and continually expand. And when that time does come, we'll work on plans of how do we continue to make sure we're up in the area and having a presence, because much like the investigative side, it never stops and never ends. And this is a highly recreated area, so I would just encourage people to keep their eyes out and keep looking around, and let us know if they see something. Even if it's small or little, we'll come take a look and see if it helps us piece things together.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you everyone again for being here. This concludes the press conference.